Imagine settling into a charming suburban enclave in Austin, Texas, where the live oaks sway gently and the summer heat waves invite lazy barbecues under string lights. That's where I landed about 18 months ago, chasing a fresh start after a tough divorce. My one true solace in this new chapter wasn't a flashy ride or a high-tech gadget, it was my backyard oasis. A meticulously crafted koi pond, surrounded by vibrant Japanese maples and blooming lotus flowers. I'd poured my heart into it, installing it myself over countless weekends. Each fish named after a cherished memory from my past. It was my zen zone, my quiet retreat after long days at the software firm downtown. The pond's gentle waterfall hummed softly, never disturbing the peace. And I'd even added sound-dampening features to keep it whisper quiet. But apparently, this slice of serenity ignited a seething, unhinged envy in our homeowners association president, Karen. She was the type who patrolled the streets like a self-appointed queen, her beady eyes scanning for any deviation from her iron-fisted vision of perfection. With her perpetual scowl and a voice that could curdle milk, Karen embodied every nightmare neighbor, manipulative, vindictive, and utterly devoid of empathy. She spread rumors like wildfire, twisting innocent hobbies into community threats, all while flashing a fake smile that masked her toxic core. Little did I know, my pond would become her obsession, fueling a rage that would expose her as the monstrous bully she truly was. Welcome to my tale of suburban sabotage. Stick around, because this one's going to hit you right in the feels. It all kicked off with a venomous note slipped under my door one humid evening in late June, 2024. Not a courteous heads up. Oh no, this was peak Karen malice. Scrawled in aggressive block letters. Your obnoxious pond is a hazard to our serene streets. It's attracting pests, endangering pets, and shattering the harmony we've all worked so hard to maintain. You have 10 days to dismantle it, or face severe consequences. I chuckled at first, snapping a photo for my growing file of neighborhood absurdities, figuring it was just her over-the-top dramatics. My pond wasn't some wild swamp, it was a controlled ecosystem with filters and barriers, compliant with every local guideline. HOA bylaws mention nothing about water features. And if anyone was disruptive, it was Karen blasting her political podcasts at full volume during her morning meditations. But as the days ticked by 7, 8, 9, I sensed her shadowy presence lurking. On the 11th morning, I stepped out to feed my koi, coffee steaming in my mug, only to collapse in horror. My paradise was obliterated, the pond liner ripped to shreds, plants uprooted and trampled, fish floating lifelessly in the murky remnants. It looked like a hurricane of hatred had struck. Deliberate and cruel, a neighbor, let's call her Sophia, sidled up. Her voice trembling. I spotted Karen and her handyman messing around back here last night. Thought it was odd, but didn't want to stir trouble. Odd? It was downright diabolical. Rage boiled inside me, but I held it together, remembering the discreet trail cam I'd hidden in the garden trellis after her first complaints. Back indoors, I replayed the footage. And there she was, Karen, wild-eyed and snarling, wielding a shovel like a weapon of war, smashing everything in sight while muttering about preserving property values. Her cruelty was palpable, her glee and destruction sending chills down my spine. I didn't break down. Instead, a fierce determination ignited. I dialed my attorney, vowing that Karen's vicious act would cost her dearly, perhaps even her smug throne. Karen must have slunk back to her oversized colonial-style house that night. He puffed up with delusional triumph, convinced she'd eradicated a neighborhood blight like some twisted guardian angel. But she overlooked two critical weapons in my arsenal: ironclad proof and an unyielding sense of justice. I marched the evidence straight to the local precinct, crystal-clear video timestamps, Sophia's hesitant but honest eyewitness account, and even soil samples matching her garden tools. The detective watching the clip shook his head in disbelief. She's not even bothering to disguise herself, no mask, no caution. Just Karen in her signature pearl necklace, hacking away like it's open season on Serenity. The homeowners association scrambled into panic mode, firing off a tepid apology letter from the board unsigned by Karen. Naturally, she ramped up her villainy instead, screeching at the officers on her doorstep that she was the real victim, that my pond was a breeding ground for disease and discord, and she'd merely taken necessary action to safeguard the kids. As if her rampage was noble. She twisted facts with a serpentine tongue, emailing the entire association blasts, labeling me a careless environmental terrorist whose hobby invited catastrophe. It was harassment at its most vile, her words dripping with poison that made my blood run cold. I pored over the homeowners association handbook, underlining every irrelevant rule she invented, and fired back a detailed rebuttal titled Karen's Fabricated Fears, a fact-check edition. By the time we hit the lawsuit phase, my case was a fortress: vandalism, trespass, slander from her vicious missives, and the deep emotional toll of losing something tied to my late mother's love of nature. My lawyer grinned like a shark scenting blood, while Karen's escalating nastiness only dug her grave deeper, her remorseless arrogance evoking a profound disgust that clawed at everyone's sense of fairness. The courtroom in downtown Austin buzzed with tension on that fateful autumn day, October 15th, 2024. As Karen sauntered in with her trademark haughtiness, clutching a binder of nonsense like it was holy scripture. No legal counsel for her, just blind entitlement. As if her bullying tactics would sway the judge, I sat poised, heart pounding with a mix of grief and resolve, picturing my ruined pond and the innocent lives she'd callously ended. My attorney opened with a devastating presentation in large stills from the video capturing Karen mid-destruction, her face twisted in feral rage, shovel raised high like a harbinger of chaos. The judge's brow furrowed, the audience gasped, and Karen snarled objections, claiming it was all misrepresented. Next came her inflammatory emails, printed on crisp cardstock, accusing me of everything from poisoning the water table to being a menace to family values. When the judge noted, "These are your own words, ma'am," her facade cracked just a sliver, revealing the ugly core beneath. On her turn, she unleashed a tirade. That pond was a ticking time bomb, luring wildlife and risking floods. I had to intervene for the greater good. Think of the children, the judge pressed. So you admit to the destruction, and with chilling audacity, she snapped, I eliminated the threat. The room fell into stunned silence, her villainy laid bare in all its grotesque glory, stirring a wave of revulsion that made stomachs turn. I took the stand next, voice steady but laced with raw emotion, detailing how the pond honored my mother's memory, how I'd logged water quality reports proving its safety, and gathered neighbor testimonials affirming its tranquility. As arguments closed, the judge's verdict thundered. The evidence is irrefutable. Karen, you are liable for all damages, including full restoration costs, legal fees, and penalties for your egregious harassment. Her face crumpled in shock. The climax of her downfall, crashing down like a tidal wave, leaving us all breathless with vindicated fury. 2 months later, on a crisp December morning, my revitalized pond sparkled anew, bigger, better, with enhanced filtration and a plaque reading, "Resilience Garden in Loving Memory." I'd customized it with glow-in-the-dark lotus lights and a subtle engraving of thanks to Karen, etched into the stone border. Petty, perhaps, but profoundly satisfying. Meanwhile, Karen spiraled into well-deserved ruin. The judgment hammered her with over $400,000 in payouts, forcing her to auction off her prized antique furniture collection and downsize her sprawling home. Whispers spread that her spouse distanced himself from the homeowners association. Her so-called friends shunned her toxic rants, and even her prized rose bushes wilted under the stress of her mounting debts, karma delivering a poetic sting. I glided through the neighborhood one evening, the waterfalls murmur a gentle soundtrack, spotting Karen glaring from her porch, her eyes hollow with defeat. She attempted a feeble defense at the next association gathering, whining about unjust persecution for her protective instincts. But the crowd erupted in jeers, voting her out unanimously amid popcorn-munching spectators. Sophia led the charge, proposing a ban on her meddling to uphold true community peace. These days, Karen skulks away at my approach, her once domineering presence reduced to a pathetic shadow. I framed her original nasty note beside a photo of the restored pond in my home office, a reminder of triumph over tyranny. This wasn't just about rebuilding a garden, it was a heartfelt victory against a bully who thought her petty power entitled her to destroy dreams. If there's a Karen in your life wielding unfounded wrath, remember, evidence and endurance can topple even the most vile empires. What do you think? Did she get her just desserts? Share below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of everyday heroes prevailing.